switch for unanimous for guilty. It's going to switch to unanimous for not guilty. And another man doesn't like that. So he stands up and starts arguing with him, saying that's not a valid point to make and that this is a man's life and it should not depend on whether you want to catch a baseball game or not. And that's just not okay. And then for the later part of the 5 minutes, the older gentleman stands up to make his point that the man on trial is not Caucasian and that he has tendencies to be violent and all that, which is a very racist remark. And you can see that the room does not agree with the points I'm later going to cover. But for the first part of the scene, you can see that the camera zooms in to each gentleman's faces as the scene's getting more intense, and that just helps add to the intensity. You can also see there's facial expressions better as the man who is balding, this one on screen, who is the one that's angry at the dude who wants to see his baseball game. You can see that he's mad in his camera, more glaring. The man who wants to catch his baseball game, and you can see that this gentleman, his face is sweating, showing that he's a little stressed. He doesn't really know what to say. He wasn't expecting this kind of a reaction, kind of confused, distraught. Yeah, you can just see that he doesn't really know what to say, and that it's good to see it. And then this just adds to the intensity of the film, helps you tell what's going through their mind. The scene also tends scenes to get a little darker, which might be an editing technique. I can't really say for sure it does, but it definitely feels like it. For the audio, the rain in the background gets louder as this keeps going on, which just adds more ambiance to the scene, more of a vibe. And then this third picture is in between the two main parts of the 5 minutes where they call for a revote, and this man who has been voting guilty the entire time changes his vote. It starts with a close-in zoom of his hands. You can't tell who it is. As the camera slowly pans down, you can see that it's him, which is pretty surprising at this point in the film. And you can see by all the other men's reactions. And for the next part of the film I wanted to cover, you can see this man standing up as he starts to make his points. And as the rest of the room realizes his points are not valid and that he's just being racist, the camera slowly zooms out so you can see them all starting to walk away. This is the final screenshot I took. And you can see that they all turn their backs to him, showing that none of them really agree with him, trying to show him that his points are invalid and nobody really cares to hear what he has to say anymore. The camera's zooming out, kind of not just to show these men turning their backs. It also adds to the ambiance of the scene. The audio, you can hear that the rain actually gets quieter for the scene, unlike the other scene where they're more yelling. It gets louder. You can really only hear the fan. You can barely hear the rain at this point, which is a cool editing technique or audio technique that adds to the scene, in my opinion. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening.